right, so my name is Kent Osborne. Basically, I do own a trucking company by the name of KO Trucking. I have 2 trucks. Had some drivers. Had one driver wreck my truck. Had the other one had to get rid of him because he had women problems. I also have a music record label, which is what I started doing in 2009. Was music, so it's called Generation Changes for Personal Development. I do motivational speaking from there. I also have a nonprofit organization by the name of Prison to Power, what you see me wearing right now. The prison starts in the mind, and God gives us the power over every aspect of our life. So we got to break free from that mental prison. Right? And I'm also an author of an Amazon #1 best-selling book on Amazon. It's called From Prison to Power. So y'all get a chance, y'all go to Amazon, y'all will see my book, From Prison to Power. But how many people know that you don't have to be in physical prison to be in a prison in your mind? All right. So my days ain't always been so bright. I like to share the backstory. I lost my parents when I was young. I lost my dad when I was 5 years old. I lost my mom when I was 9. The Bible says you train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they're old, they will not depart from it, right? They know what to come back to. My mama kept me in church. Right? She showed me love. She showed me affection. She told me, she said, son, she said, you can do anything you put your mind to. She said, you see your daddy? She said, he's an entrepreneur. He got his own business. She said, son, if he can do it, she said, you can do it. So my mom showed me all kind of love and affection. But when my mom passed away at 9 years old, I didn't have no mom or no father. I had to go live with my aunt, right? So I had to go live with my aunt. My aunt and I couldn't get along. Now, my aunt was a Christian too, but how many people know that just because you're a Christian, that don't mean you're perfect? Right? So she would get angry with us. She had like 8 kids of her own. Some was grown, some was still there. She would get angry. She would say things to us that we didn't like. And I ended up one night at 4 o'clock in the morning, packing up my stuff, and I went out the back window and I ran away from my auntie house. And I ran to my cousin's house. My cousin was a little older than my aunt. Well, she was younger than my aunt, but she was a little older than me. She wasn't too much older. She was a little older than me. So I ran to her house, but she let me stay with her. And when she let me stay with her, she allowed me to have all kind of freedom. And this is where the problem started. I didn't have no guidance. I didn't have no direction because she was like, as long as you take your behind to school, that's all that mattered. So she didn't really care too much. So I started hanging around all these bad people. I found myself robbing, stealing, snatching purses, doing drugs, selling drugs, doing everything I can to survive. The Bible says bad company corrupts good character. How many people know that? So when I was staying with my aunt, I played football, I played basketball, I played baseball. She kept me in sports. I was the morning announcer every morning in school. So I was a good kid. But when I ran away and I got out started hanging out with the wrong crowd, the bad company, it corrupted my character. And I became a bad kid. How many people know the people you hang around plays a major role in your life? You hang around losers, what's going to happen? You're going to become a loser. You hang around a winner, what's going to happen? You're going to become a winner. So I want to tell you, you got to get around people that are winning in life. And I really wanted you to think about that. I want you to just sit here right now, all y'all young people. I want you to just sit here and just think about your friends. I want to think about who are you around? What kind of friends are you hanging around? Are your friends good friends? Or are they bad friends? We all know good from bad. So you'll know if your friend is a bad friend, if they lead you down the wrong path, or you'll know if they're a good friend, they lead you down the right path. So I was hanging around all these people that would lead me down the wrong path. I found myself in trouble at 16 years old with aggravated assault on a police officer. What happened was, me and my friends, I had the gun. We was in a neighborhood, and I shot the gun in the air. Somebody called the police. When the police came, they surrounded us. They had all those lined up, and they were just checking everybody to see who had the gun. When they got to me, I know they was fit to check me. I took off running. So they chased me around the corner, and when I had the gun, I was going around the corner, I threw the gun, and I kept running. So he was saying when I threw it, he was trying to say when I threw it, I aimed it at him. That's what he was saying. But I had a public defender, which we call them public pretenders. But I had a public defender, and he beat the case for me after 6 months. I ended up getting out. After 6 months, I beat an aggravated assault on a police officer, which probably would have had me gone for years. But God didn't let it happen like that. He had a plan for my life all along. I beat the case. I really didn't aim that gun at that police. But because I was hanging around the wrong crowd, I found myself in that trouble. I got out. I got right back into the streets. Same thing. Robbing, stealing, selling drugs, snorting powder, popping pills, all that crazy stuff. I found myself in prison at 19 years old for the first time in my life. Now I'm in prison. I'm around all these cats in there that then did all kind of crimes. The devil in there, evil in there, all kind of stuff. They talk about your mama. They spit in your face. The food was horrible. I was in there, man, and I'm talking about killers, people that got natural life. I'm in there with these kind of people. And then they sent me to the work camp to do the rest of my time. So now that I'm in the work camp, I started rapping. So what would happen was we'll be at a table. You would have everybody crowd around the table. You would have somebody beating on the table. But the music I was making was promoting violence, sex, drugs, and guns. So the people that was in there, they were like, "K.O., when you get out, man, don't let it go. Keep it going, don't let it go." See, because they still living that lifestyle. So they wanted me to keep that kind of music going. So I said, "Listen, bro, when I get out, I ain't gonna let it go. I'm gonna keep doing it. I ain't gonna let it go." I ended up going to work release. See, that time I caught 25 months. I did 20 months in prison, and I had to do the other 5 in work release. Now, when I went to work release, I had a cousin that was out. And this cousin that was out before I went in, he was a small-time drug dealer. The girls didn't like him too much. The clothes he wore was raggedy. He was real big. You know, he couldn't get no play. But when I was locked up and I was in that place in work release, and he called my girlfriend. And he told my girlfriend to have me to give him a call. And so when I gave my cousin a call, he was like, "Call." He said, "Boy, it ain't like it used to be, boy." He said, "Ain't nothing like it used to be." He said, "Boy, I done came up." He said, "When you get out, I'm going to put you on. You're going to be on strong. I'm going to put you on." So here I am, happy about getting out, hooking up with the same kind of people that had me in the trouble I was already in. I was happy about getting out, hooking up with somebody that didn't want anything out of life. I was still trapped inside of a mental prison. Because here I am talking about doing the same thing. I'm happy beating on my chest, telling all my homeboys, "Y'all need to come holler at me when you get out. Y'all need to come holler at me. I'm finna be on strong." But that's that mental prison that I talked about. And when I did get out, my cousin did put me on. We became some of the biggest drug dealers in Melbourne, Florida. I was living in Florida at the time. I'm talking about, we was making so much money. My cousin said, "Look, cuz," he said, "Well, I done made $10,000 a day." I said, "Man, I made $11,000 a day." He said, "I made $12,000 a day." We was competing on how much money we was making. I'm talking about we had all the cars, the Broms with the rims, the 24s, the music, everything. Chains, all kind of stuff. My cousin, his pregnant baby mama, and my girlfriend at the time, we was all living together. And see, the music, the money I was making from the drugs I was doing, I was investing my money back into the music business. To do that music, I was telling these guys that I was going to do when I get out. I started performing for all these major artists, opening up for Lil Wayne, opening up for Juvenile, doing songs with Pastor Troy, songs with Phil Mob. I was doing all that, selling my music out my trunk. But my girlfriend at the time, she was getting nervous because she had a baby daddy that had went to the feds. She knew about the dope game. And see, my cousin, what he was doing, when he sold the drugs, when people would come in the house to purchase drugs, my cousin would have drugs all over the table. He just showing everything, money, drugs laying around. So they coming to buy drugs and they seeing everything. So you already know what time it is. When somebody coming to buy drugs and they seeing everything, what you think happened? You're going to get robbed. They end up doubling back. You're going to get robbed. So my girlfriend, she knew it. She seen all this stuff. She was like, listen, baby. She said, I want to go. Let's go back. Let's go to Atlanta, see if we can start a new life and leave this junk alone. I'm like, baby, I don't know about this, man. I said, here I am making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a day, and you want me to just leave this and go to Atlanta and get a job? I said, I don't know about all this. She kept on talking to me about it. I was like, you know what? I'm finna go try this out with her because I know my cousin doing some stupid stuff like showing all these people. I know it. I ain't stupid now. I know what time it is. I know what time it is. So I end up leaving with her. And after a couple days, I get a phone call. 3 o'clock in the morning. It was the police from Melbourne, Florida. Here I am in Atlanta, me and my girl, inside an efficiency. I get a call that somebody's been shot at my house. And it was my cousin and his pregnant baby mama. They tell me I need to come back to Melbourne, Florida because of that happened. I need to come back for questioning. I was so angry, man. I turned around and punched the wall. Boom, my hand went through the wall. I was so angry. I got in that car, me and my girl, and we started riding back down to Melbourne, Florida. And by the time we got down there, before we hadn't got down there, some people in my family, they had then got together and went and shot the boy's mama house up who had then did the crime because they already knew what had happened. But it was by the grace of God that nobody didn't get hit. And the mom and dad, they was in there. So see, that's why I tell y'all kids, right? And even adults, because they need to know this. What you do don't only affect you, it affect your loved ones. Because if you go out there and do something stupid and they can't find you, they coming to kill your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, your baby. They don't care who it is. All they know is they're coming for revenge. And see, what had happened was the guys came into the house. When my cousin and his pregnant baby mama came in, they grabbed them because they was already hiding in the house. They grabbed them. They took them in the closet, and they had them on their knees like this right here, kind of like execution style. But they were standing in front of them. One right there and one right there. And now they standing over them, and they asking my cousin, where the drugs at? Where the drugs at? He like, man, I ain't got nothing, man. I ain't got nothing, man. I ain't got no drugs. You do got it. Where the drugs at? So he telling them they ain't got it. She crying. So they begin to shoot his girlfriend to try to get him to tell. Pow, pow. They start shooting all up in her arms. They shot the girl 14 times. Last shot, they shot her in the head. Pow, pow. Shot her twice. Right? Well, they shot her once right there. So when she falls over into his arm, and he got her, and she's shaking, and she's drooling, she's drooling, eyes rolling back, and he got her. He telling her, baby, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Knowing it's not gonna be okay. She just got shot 14 times and one in the head. It's not gonna be okay. So when he looks up to ask them, why did y'all do this? As soon as he said, why? Bow, bow. They shot him twice in the face, one right there and one right there. He falls over. It was by the grace of God. It was by the grace of God. My cousin lived to tell that story. He said when he got up, after about 30 minutes he got up. He said his head was throbbing. He didn't know what was happening. He didn't know where he was bleeding at. He said he got up and made his way out the closet, and he said he fell on the bed. And he said when he fell on the bed, he seen the blood on the bed. That's how he knew he was shot in the head. He said then he made his way down the hall, and as he made his way down the hall, you can see the blood all the way down the hall on the wall. He goes in there, call the police, and the police come. By the grace of God, like I say again, my cousin lived to tell the story. They went looking for the guys. The police was looking for them. The police ended up catching them. And they end up going to jail, and they got life. You would think, after all this, my cousin, his pregnant baby mama, get shot, and his little baby dead, died in her stomach. You would think after all this, that I knew God was giving me a wake-up call. Like, K.O., my son, you got to chill. You would have thought of all this, right? That God was giving me a wake-up call, and I would have answered that wake-up call. I didn't answer that wake-up call. I went back to the streets. I want to ask you, I know it's something happened in your life too. What's your wake-up call? When did you put snooze on? Something happened in your life too. Maybe you was riding with your partner. Your partner got shot or something like that. You got away, you jumped out and ran and got away. Maybe y'all was breaking in a house, robbing a store. Y'all ran. Your partner got caught. You got away. What's your wake-up call? God is calling you. He's telling you that you need to change your life and give it to him before it's too late. Because the next time, man, you might not get away. You may be the one that's dead or in prison because you didn't answer that wake-up call. And see, I didn't answer that wake-up call. I went back to the streets. I started back selling drugs. In 2007, I ended up getting popped for possession of cocaine. What happened was I was staying in this rooming house, and the rooming house had like 5 rooms. It was a new house that somebody was renting the house, and he was just renting out rooms. I stayed in the top, in the attic. They had a little room in the attic. I was up in the attic, probably like on the 2nd floor. One day I heard something say, boom! And immediately, I got up, jumped out the window. Just got up and just jumped out the window. Boom, all the way on the 2nd floor, and I just started running fast as I can. See, I was traumatized because I had just remembered what happened to my cousin. He just got killed. I mean, his baby mama just got killed. His daughter just got killed, and he just got shot in the face from a home invasion. I'm thinking a home invasion going on. I run down the street. I see the police parked down the street. So I run to the police. I said, hey, man, somebody breaking in our house. The police were like, yeah. He was like, well, where they breaking in there? I said, right down there. He said, get in the car and show me where they breaking in at. I get in the back of the police car like a dummy. We ride down the street. I see all the police cars in front of the house. He said, well, right there. I said, yeah, right there. He said, man, this house just been busted. He said he came around, got me out the car, put me in the handcuffs, brought me back into the house, and when I went into the house, I seen all the other people that lived in the house on the couch. He sat me right beside them, and they started explaining that somebody had then sold drugs to an informant, and they had to come in and check everybody's rooms, which they shouldn't have did that, because if I'm in a boarding house, this is my room. I didn't sell no drugs or nothing like that to no informant. Why you coming in my room? You go in the person's room that did it. But I had a lawyer at the time, but I ended up losing the case. Regardless, sent me back to prison. Now here I'm in prison for the 2nd time in my life. I couldn't believe this junk. Because at the same time, I was still making money and putting music, making my money and putting it into the music business. So I'm still riding around the Southeast, selling music out my trunk, doing performances at the same time, but I was still selling dope. And what I was trying to do was doing like I seen Master P do it. I seen Baby from the Hot Boys, all them take their drug money and they made music labels. Now they ain't even selling no drugs anymore. They big, Lil Wayne, all them, they big time rappers. Ain't nobody selling no drugs. That's what I was trying to do. But you can't do right and you can't do wrong at the same time. It don't work for everybody like that. I can't even count on one hand how many people that made it out like that, tried to just sold drugs and just made it successful in life. And I was trying to do that. And I found myself back in prison. And I remember talking to this guy that was in prison. And I was telling him everything I was doing. I'm like, man, look, man. I said, man, I was selling my music, man. I'm doing this, I'm doing that out there. I said, but I'm still selling drugs. The guy told me. The guy said, Kent. He said, listen to me, bro. He said, bro, if you want to be successful, you need to give your life to God. He said, I'm telling you, bro, everything that you want out of life, it will happen for you. He said, but you got to give it to Jesus. See, basically what this guy was telling me was Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness. Don't forget the righteousness now. The righteousness is the commandments. You get in that Bible and you start learning everything that God tells you to do. He give us commandments. He give us principles. And you got to line your life up with everything that this word is telling you to do. If you line your life up with what this word is saying, your life is going to change. It's going to change. Ain't no doubt about that. You just got to line your life up with it. So the guy said, Ken, come to church with me, man. He said, I'm telling you. I ended up going to church with the guy. They had church 7 days a week in prison. The more and more I started going to church with this guy, the more and more I started falling in love with Christ. And I ended up building a personal relationship. I was talking to one of my homeboys on the way up here. He's struggling right now in his marriage. I was struggling in my marriage. So it was good to talk to him, you know, and counsel him at the same time and counseling myself at the same time, counseling him. And he was just telling me how he don't believe in religion. I'm like, okay, well, you just make sure you got that personal relationship with Jesus. That's all you need, is that personal relationship. And you line your life with what he's telling you to do. And that's what I had to do, man. And once I got out and started lining my life up with Christ, man, now I have my own record label. I have my own book. I'm an author. I have my own trucking company. I got 2 trucks. I have an online trucking course where I teach people how to start and run a 6-figure trucking company from the ground up. I have a mentorship program where I mentor youth. I have an online mentorship program that people can log in all the way from Japan and get mentoring from Ken Osborne. I'm telling you, so Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not into thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he'll direct thy path. But see, when I was in the streets was directing my path. My homeboys was directing my path. These rappers on TV telling me to ride with that fire, to shoot, to snort powder, to do all that, pop pills. These rappers and all them, they was directing my path. And that's what kept landing me in jail and kept landing me in prison and landing my homeboys dead for listening to them. But when I started letting God direct my path, I stand here today as the owner of KO Trucking, Prison to Power, book, mentorship program, and a motivational speaker. And I'm telling you, if God can do it for me, after all the stuff that I've been through, he can do it for you. No matter what you done been through, you may be thinking, man, I done so much stuff, man, that God can't forgive me. He can't use me. But I just want to say, if he did it for me and he was able to use me, he can use you. That's my time. I'm your big bro, KO. Thank y'all. Thank you, bro. Yeah.
God is good, ain't he? You know, a lot of his testimony I can attest to. I was one of those people that ran out the streets and sold drugs for years and thought I knew what I was doing.